Welcome to the Parkrun Brief, the weekly parkrun training podcast, where I break down what we've published this week on parkruntraining.co.nz and turn it into practical coaching advice you can use this Saturday. For the Sunday reset, how to build a weekly running rhythm that actually works. Most runners don't struggle because they lack motivation, they struggle because of lack of rhythm. One week, everything clicks. You get your runs done, feel good, and arrive at parkrun feeling prepared. The next week feels chaotic. Sessions get moved around, recovery gets squeezed in. By Saturday, you're either tired, underprepared, or both. The difference isn't usually fitness, it's structure. The best training plans aren't necessarily the most complicated. They are the ones that fit naturally into your life and create a rhythm you can repeat week after week. And Sunday is the perfect time to build that rhythm. Why rhythm matters more than perfection. Many runners chase the perfect week, the perfect long run, the perfect interval session, the perfect park run. But fitness doesn't come from occasionally perfect weeks, it comes from consistent good weeks. A sustainable rhythm removes the constant decision making that drains energy and motivation. Instead of wondering when you'll fit your training in, you already know. Your week develops a natural flow, and that flow makes consistency much easier. Start with your anchor sessions. Every training week should have a few key sessions around which everything else is built. For most park runners, these anchors are Saturday park run, a quality session during the week, and a longer, easier run. Everything else supports these sessions. Rather than trying to fit parkrun around your week, build your week around parkrun. This creates purpose and direction. Respect the hard day, easy day principle. One of the biggest mistakes runners make is stacking stress. A hard session on Tuesday, a moderate run on Wednesday, another hard effort on Thursday, parkrun Saturday. Eventually fatigue catches up. A much better approach is alternating stress and recovery. Hard days create fitness. Easy days allow you to absorb it. The magic happens when both are present, not when one replaces the other. Make easy runs easy enough. A good weekly rhythm relies on contrast. If every run feels similar, recovery disappears. Easy runs should feel genuinely relaxed. You should finish them feeling better than when you started. That freshness allows quality sessions to stay high quality, and it makes the whole week feel more manageable. Match your training to your life. The best plan on paper is useless if it doesn't fit reality. Work schedules change, family commitments appear, travel happens. Some weeks will never look exactly as planned. That's normal. A strong running rhythm isn't rigid, it's adaptable. Instead of asking, how do I force this session into my week? Ask, what's the best place for this session within the week I actually have? That's a much more sustainable approach. Keep the week simple. Many runners improve dramatically when they stop adding things. Instead of asking what more you should do, ask, what are the 3 or 4 most important things? For many park runners, that might simply be one quality session, one longer, easier run, one easy recovery run, and a Saturday park run. Done consistently, that's enough to create meaningful progress. Simple doesn't mean ineffective. Simple often means repeatable. Build recovery into the rhythm. Recovery shouldn't be something you squeeze in when you have time. It should be part of the plan from the start. That might mean a rest day after parkrun, a short mobility routine, easy running between harder efforts, prioritizing sleep during busy weeks. Recovery isn't the reward for training, it's part of the training. Your Sunday reset. Before Monday arrives, take 5 minutes to look ahead. Ask yourself, what are my anchor sessions this week? Where are my recovery opportunities? Does this plan fit my actual life? Can I realistically repeat this next week? Because the goal isn't to build a perfect week. The goal is to build a rhythm that keeps working month after month, a rhythm that supports consistency, a rhythm that supports improvement, a rhythm that actually works. And once you find that rhythm, running becomes a lot less stressful and a lot more enjoyable. The Saturday Spark, how to run even splits at parkrun and why it's so hard. If you look at the results of most park runners, you'll see a familiar pattern. Fast first kilometre, slower second kilometre, slower again in the third and fourth kilometre, and desperate attempt to rescue things in the final kilometre. It's incredibly common. Yet when coaches analyse performances, one pacing strategy consistently stands out. Even splits. Running each kilometre at roughly the same pace is one of the most effective ways to maximise your parkrun performance. So why don't more runners do it? Because even splits are simple. They're just not easy. What are even splits? Even splits means running each kilometre at approximately the same pace throughout the entire 5 kilometre. For example, a 25-minute parkrun might look like first kilometre 5 minutes flat, second kilometre 5 minutes flat, third kilometre 5 minutes and 1 second, fourth kilometre 4 minutes 59 seconds, fifth kilometre 5 minutes flat. Nothing dramatic, no heroics, just controlled, disciplined running. And that's exactly why it works. Why even splits produce faster times. When you distribute your effort evenly, breathing stays under control longer. Fatigue builds more gradually. Rhythm is easier to maintain, and you waste less energy. Instead of constantly managing the consequence of a fast start, you're simply running at the pace your fitness can support. The result? A smoother run and usually a faster finish time. Why even splits are so hard. The challenge isn't physical, it's psychological. At the start of parkrun, you're fresh. Adrenaline is high, everyone around you seems to be sprinting, and your goal pace feels easy. The temptation to go faster is enormous, and that's where many runners get caught. The first kilometre feels fantastic. The fourth kilometre is where the consequences arrive. The real skill, holding back early. Most runners think pacing is about pushing harder. It's not. Pacing is usually about holding back enough to stay strong later. That takes confidence. You have to trust that your pace is right. Your fitness is enough. The runners flying past you may come back later, because many of them do. A better goal than a fast start. This weekend, try replacing this thought, I need to get ahead early, with this one, I need to arrive at 4 kilometres ready to race. That single shift changes everything. Instead of racing the first kilometre, you start racing the entire 5 kilometres. The practical strategy for your next parkrun, first kilometre, run at your goal average pace. Not faster, not slower, just your planned pace. Second to fourth kilometre, focus on maintaining effort rather than chasing speed. Stay smooth, stay relaxed, stay patient. Fifth kilometre, now you can race. If you've paced correctly, you'll have something left to give. Saturday Spark takeaway. If you want a stronger parkrun, resist the temptation to surge early. Trust your goal pace. Focus on consistency, not excitement. Save your racing for the final kilometre. Even splits aren't exciting, they're effective. And while they may not produce the fastest first kilometre, they often produce the fastest overall 5 kilometre. Run smart, stay patient, finish strong. For the Friday fast track, unlock your 5K potential with threshold training. Threshold training is where strong 5K performances are built. Develops your ability to hold a demanding pace for longer, teaching both your body and mind how to stay composed when the effort starts to bite. This Friday fast track session uses 2 sustained threshold efforts separated by a short recovery, making it a simple but highly effective workout for park runners looking to build sustainable speed. Today's workout, parkrun tune-up, 2 by 4 minutes 30 threshold. Warm-up, 10 minutes at level 2, easy, relaxed running. Main set, 2 by 4 minutes 30 at level 4, threshold effort, 1 minute at level 2, recovery jog between reps. Cool down, 10 minutes at level 2. Post-run, 10 minutes gentle stretching. Why this works for parkrun. Threshold running improves your ability to sustain a strong pace without accumulating excessive fatigue. The relatively short recovery means you need to settle quickly back into the effort and maintain good running form throughout both intervals. For parkrunners, this session helps you build sustainable speed, improves lactate threshold, develop pacing discipline, strengthen aerobic endurance, and increase confidence at harder efforts. The second repetition is often where the greatest benefit occurs as your body learns to perform well despite carrying some residual fatigue from the first effort. How it should feel: strong and purposeful. Breathing is controlled but noticeable. You can speak a few words but not hold a conversation, and both repetitions should feel similar in effort. The goal is consistency. The second interval should feel slightly harder due to accumulated fatigue, but your pace and form should remain controlled. My tip: avoid racing the first interval. Many runners make threshold sessions harder than they need to be by starting too aggressively. Focus on settling into the effort within the first minute, finding a sustainable rhythm, and maintaining smooth running mechanics through both repetitions. Want to finish your next park run feeling stronger and more in control? Grab my free guide, Stronger for Parkrun, a quick routine to finish your 5K better. The link is in the description. It's a simple, effective strength session you can add after any run, including today's Friday fast track workout. The truth about running more kilometers for a faster park run. One of the most common questions runners ask when they want to improve their parkrun time is, should I run more? It's a reasonable question. After all, if running 20 kilometers per week helped you improve, surely 30 kilometers would help you even more. And if 30 kilometers is good, then 40 must be even better, right? Well, not necessarily. Running more can absolutely help you become a faster runner, but simply adding kilometers without understanding why you're adding them often leads to frustration, fatigue, and sometimes injury. The real question isn't, should I run more? The better question is, should I run more right now? More isn't automatically better. One of the biggest mistakes runners make is assuming that every training problem can be solved by increasing volume. Sometimes it can, often it can't. Imagine two runners. Runner A currently runs twice per week and covers around 15 kilometers. Runner B already runs 5 times per week and covers 60 kilometers. Would increasing their training by another 10 kilometers have the same effect? Almost certainly not. Runner A will probably see significant benefits. Runner B may experience very little improvement or simply become more tired. Context matters. The training that helps one runner may be completely unnecessary for another. The aerobic advantage. That said, running more does provide some very real benefits. Easy aerobic running helps improve cardiovascular fitness, capillary density, running economy, fatigue resistance, and recovery between hard efforts. In simple terms, it improves the engine that powers your running. Stronger aerobic system allows you to sustain faster paces for longer. That's valuable whether you're trying to break 35 minutes, 25 minutes, or 20 minutes for parkrun. This is one reason why successful runners really focus solely on speed sessions. The aerobic work provides the foundation that allows those faster workouts to be effective. The law of diminishing returns. The challenge is that the benefits of additional running tend to decrease as training volume increases. Going from 10 kilometers per week to 20 kilometers per week often produces noticeable improvements. Going from 20 to 30 can also help significantly. Going from 60 to 70, not always. At some point, every runner reaches a stage where additional kilometers provide less benefit than improving the quality of the training they're already doing. This is where many runners get stuck. Instead of improving the structure of their training, they simply add more of the same. More kilometers can create new problems. Running more isn't free. Every kilometer has a cost. The cost may be time, recovery, energy, or increased injury risk. Many runners find themselves trapped in a cycle where they're running more but feeling worse. Their legs are always tired, their quality sessions suffer, their motivation drops, the extra training volume starts taking more than it's giving. That's not progress, that's accumulation. The minimum effective dose. One concept I often discuss with athletes is the minimum effective dose. What's the least amount of training required to achieve meaningful improvement? The answer will vary from runner to runner. For many recreational park runners, 3 quality runs per week can produce excellent results. A typical structure might include 1 long run, 1 quality session, and park run. Or if park run isn't available, 1 long run, 1 threshold session, 1 shorter, easier run. This aligns closely with my preference for 3 runs per week structure. The goal isn't to cram as much training as possible into your week. The goal is to complete the training that gives you the greatest return. The question most runners never ask. Instead of asking how much should I run, try asking what is currently limiting my performance. For some runners, the answer is aerobic fitness. For others, it's pacing. For others, it's consistency. For others, it's recovery. Until you identify the limiting factor, adding more kilometers may simply be adding more noise. What do faster park runners actually do? One of the interesting things about successful sub 20 park runners is that they don't all run the same weekly mileage. Some run relatively high volumes, others don't. What they tend to have in common is consistency, structure, and purpose. Their training isn't random. Their easy runs are easy. Their harder sessions have a clear objective. Their progression is deliberate. It's not the number itself that matters. It's what the kilometers are helping them achieve. When should you consider running more? Increasing your training volume may be worthwhile if you're currently running only once or twice per week. You're recovering well, you're injury free, and you have time available. Your current workload feels comfortable. Adding a short, easy run each week can be a simple and effective way to increase aerobic development. Keyword is gradual. The body adapts when change occurs progressively. The bottom line, running more can make you faster, but running more isn't automatically the answer. The goal isn't to accumulate kilometers. The goal is to improve performance. Something that means adding another run. Sometimes that means adding another run. Sometimes it means improving recovery. Sometimes it means introducing threshold training. Sometimes it means being more consistent. The best training plans focus on solving the problem that is actually holding you back, not the problem you assume is holding you back. Want to know if you're ready to run? Want to know if you're ready for sub 20? If your goal is to break 20 minutes for parkrun, the first step is to understand where you currently stand. That's why I created the sub 20 parkrun blueprint. Inside, you'll discover the 5 habits shared by successful sub 20 parkrunners, the 3 key workouts that improve 5-kilometer performance, the Predictor workout that reveals whether you're within striking distance of breaking 20 minutes, and common mistakes that keep runners stuck above the barrier. Most importantly, you'll learn how to assess your current fitness and identify the next step in your training journey. Download your free copy with the link in the description. Already chasing a faster parkrun? The runners who improve most are really the runners who simply do more. They're the runners who consistently do the right things. Start by understanding where you are today, then build from there. Download the Sub 20 Parkrun Blueprint with the link in the description. Run the tangents, the simplest way to save time. Most runners think the only way to run a faster parkrun is to get fitter. Run more, train harder, improve your fitness. And while those things absolutely help, there's another way to save time that requires no additional fitness at all. Run the tangents. What are tangents? Tangent is simply the shortest route through a course. Imagine drawing a straight line between 2 points. That's the shortest distance available. Now think about what happens when runners drift wide on corners. Instead of taking the shortest line, they are covering extra ground, and every extra metre means extra work. Why it matters. A few metres here and there doesn't sound like much, but parkrun courses often include corners, bends, turns around cones, winding paths. If you're constantly taking wider lines than necessary, the distance starts adding up. You might think you're running a 5K event. In reality, you could be running significantly more than that. Free speed is still speed. One of the reasons running the tangents is so effective is that it doesn't require any extra effort. You're not running faster, you're simply running less distance. That's about as close to free speed as you'll find in running. And unlike some running tips, this one can help immediately. You can apply it at your very next parkrun. The keyword smooth. Running the tangents doesn't mean cutting people off, weaving aggressively through crowds, or taking unnecessary risks. The goal is to be smooth. Look ahead, anticipate the line, move naturally through the course. The best runners often make this look effortlessly because they're planning several seconds ahead. Don't chase every metre. There's an important balance here. You don't need to obsess over every centimetre of the course. Sometimes the shortest line isn't worth disrupting your rhythm. Sometimes staying relaxed and maintaining momentum is more valuable. The aim is awareness, not perfection. Where it makes the biggest difference. Tangents matter most on courses with lots of corners, multi-lap events, narrow pathways, and winding sections. The more direction changes a course has, the more opportunity there is to save distance. On a straight out and back course, the impact is smaller. On a twisty course, it can be surprisingly significant. A simple challenge for Saturday. At your next parkrun, spend a little more time looking ahead. Notice where the course goes. Notice where the corners are and ask yourself, am I taking the shortest, sensible line here? You don't need to overhaul your race strategy, just become more aware. Bring it back to Saturday. Most performance improvements come from weeks and months of training. This can happen immediately. Run smart, look ahead, take the shortest, sensible route through the course, because sometimes a faster parkrun isn't about running harder, it's about running less. Old fitness, new reality. Paul Cannell's Lost Lagoon Parkrun Progress Report. This week's Parkrun Progress Report comes from Paul Cannell and his run at Lost Lagoon Parkrun number 46 on the 11th of April 2026, where he ran a 20:01 during his return from a long-term hamstring tendon injury. And honestly, Paul summed up the run himself pretty well before I started analysing the data. I started way too ambitious, blew out, and suffered throughout. There's definitely truth in that, but there's also a lot more going on in this run than simply bad pacing. Because underneath the slowdown are still clear signs of competitiveness, residual speed, and a runner whose instincts still remember what 1845 shape feels like, even if the body hasn't rebuilt the durability to support it yet. The context matters. Before the injury, Paul had been running 1848 for a PB, 1844 for a new PB, 1846, and then an 1845 over consecutive weeks. That's strong, consistent running. But after suffering a hamstring injury, the past 6 to 8 months have been heavily disrupted with very little consistent training. This run was effectively a comeback effort. And comeback efforts are often where the brain and body temporarily disagree. The opening kilometre changed everything. Splits, first kilometre, 3:34. Second, 4:02. Third, 4:03. Fourth, 4:13. And the fifth kilometre was at 4:25 pace. The opening kilometre is aggressive, very aggressive. Not slightly optimistic, not a touch enthusiastic, aggressive. Because a 3:34 opening kilometre projects towards low 18-minute shape. And right now, the body simply isn't carrying the training consistency, durability, or conditioning to support that level of effort. The old fitness trap. This is incredibly common for experienced runners returning from injury. Mentally, they still know what fast running feels like. They still identify with those performances, and their instincts still remember those rhythms. But physiologically, the support systems underneath that speed aren't fully rebuilt yet. So pacing decisions often get made from memory rather than from current readiness. That's exactly what this run looks like. The body corrected immediately. The drop from 334 to 402 isn't just normal slowing, that's correction. The body essentially saying, we can't sustain this today. And honestly, the fascinating part is what happened next. He stabilized surprisingly well. After the correction, 402, 403, that's actually quite positive because the full implosion would have more likely have been 402, 420, 440. Instead, Paul regained control, held things together reasonably well throughout the middle of the run. And that matters. The fade late makes complete sense. Then he ran a 413 and then 425 pace late. This is where accumulated fatigue, early lactate cost, injury protection, and reduced durability all begin catching up. The body is now carrying the price of the opening kilometre, the consequences of inconsistent training, and the limitations of the hamstring recovery. It's a hard combination to fight. The heart rate data tells a story clearly. Heart rate 164, 155, 164, 164, and then 169 at the finish. That drop from 164 to 155 after the opening kilometre is incredibly revealing. Strongly suggests that the body had to back off significantly after the opening effort just to recover. That aligns perfectly with the pacing data. Cadence reveals something even more interesting. Cadence progressively dropped 178, 177, 168, 166. That reflects fatigue, loss of elasticity, declining efficiency, and likely some subconscious hamstring protection. But then something changes around the 4.4 kilometre. Cadence suddenly rises to 180 to 182 SPMs late. That's the really interesting moment because it tells us that the competitive instinct is still there. Even after suffering through the run, Paul still found another gear late. That says a lot mentally. This wasn't a runner who can't run fast anymore. That's the important distinction. This wasn't a lack of ability. It was a mismatch between ambition and current durability. Big difference. The speed instincts are still there. Now the challenge becomes rebuilding consistency, durability, and confidence underneath them again. The lesson for experienced runners. The run is a really good reminder that comeback fitness often lags behind remembered fitness, and that's normal. The body rebuilds in layers. 1. Movement confidence. 2. Rhythm. 3. Aerobic durability. 4. Repeatability. And 5. Race resilience. The hardest part is often accepting that the body is currently at a different place than the mind remembers. The takeaway, the body always tells the truth about current fitness, even when the mind remembers something faster. Want help improving your own parkrun pacing? If you're rebuilding after injury, chasing a PB, or trying to understand your own pacing better, Parkrun Kickstart is designed to help recreational runners train smarter and race more effectively. Join Parkrun Kickstart with the link in the description. And if you'd like your own run analysed in a future Parkrun progress report, apply with the link in the description. Ka kite anō, and all the best for your next parkrun.